really can't explain it, but I know that when I come into Huntington, there's something wonderful that happens in my heart, and it's a warmth that I just feel deep within myself, and I feel very happy to be here.
If you are born into a town and you go to the schools, through the school systems in that town, that is your hometown. You don't forget anything that happened. You don't forget the ones that dissed you. You don't forget your best friends. You don't forget the prom. You don't forget anything. And I think growing up that way is really, really, really important.
It has that sense of longevity and identity for people. It has roots for a lot of people, whether they live here or they've moved away. It's home.
I distinctively remember that feeling of the 2 or 3 friends of my parents that I grew up knowing their kids. And then, so when you connect years and years later and share my kids with their kids, you talk about, you know, things that you did in your hometown, someone you remember from school, you know, whether a positive or negative memory, and you laugh about it.
In the end, home is where your heart is, the family and friends you grew up with, the places in your life, school, church, the local bakery, and your favorite restaurants and shops. And for those lucky enough to live here, Huntington still offers the special places and sense of community that make a home in your heart.
When I think about my hometown, or the word hometown, I really remember a community of parents, neighbors, and teachers coming together to raise my generation of baby boomers. Carol Serrato.
Jack Abrams is a former teacher and principal. Today, he is the curator of the Huntington School Heritage Museum. Beloved by current and former students alike, his half-century record of service to the community was recognized when the Jack Abrams Intermediate School was named in his honor.
When I was a kid, when I got home from school at 3 o'clock, there was always a snack ready for me, for my mother, and it was always a fried egg on a roll with a slice of cheese, salt and pepper, and milk, every day. As soon as I finished, I said, "Great, Ma, thanks." And out I went. I didn't show up into the house until 6 o'clock. And it was time to go home when your mother was on the corner yelling, "Jackie!" They called me Jackie then. "Jackie, come on, I'll be right there."
I remember Bo Whitney and I used to walk to school. I'd pick up friends on the way, and we'd walk to school. We'd stop at the Midway. You'd get an egg cream at the Midway. I don't even know whether the Midway still makes egg creams, but they had a fantastic magazine, a candy rack, and egg creams, a soda fountain. And that was your stop before school, and that was your stop after school, the Midway.
The principal's name was Agnes Bailey, and everybody was afraid of her. She wore the big orthopedic shoes, and when you heard her coming down the hall, you better do the right thing, or else you went to Agnes Bailey's office. I only went once in all those years, but I remember her, and she was deadly.
In 1958, the new Huntington High School opened on Oakwood Road, coming from the old Simpson High School located on Main Street. I do remember them. They marched right through town, up through Oakwood, and it was quite an event because it was a beautiful building, and everybody was looking forward to the new surroundings.
What happened is that they organized a very, very good PR thing where all the kids came to school first and then picked up all of their books and everything else and proceeded to march in almost military fashion down 25A and then up New York Avenue and then over to the high school, where they came right in and went to school. It was all ready for them.
Well, Catholic school is quite different than most schools. We had 8 nuns with habits. You see these earlobes? I think the nuns made them longer. But I deserved everything I got.
Somewhere along the lineups in April of 1957, before I graduated high school, I met 2 girls in the hallway, and they mentioned that there was a certain girl that liked me. So I asked her out for a date, and 52 years later, we're still married with 3 children and 6 grandchildren. I was one of the ones influential in getting all the class reunions together. We had the 20th, the 35th, the 40th, and just recently had our 50th. It was these people that still remained our friends. In addition to having this girl that I asked if she wanted to go steady with me on April 26, 1957. And I didn't think it was going to be this steady, but this is steady, so.
Another thing that I remember from the late 50s is the metamorphosis of Huntington Hospital. What an amazingly busy place it was. Patients were often housed in the halls until rooms opened up for them. Even cancer patients sometimes had to wait weeks to be admitted for elective procedures. Only emergency cases were admitted immediately. The entire hospital was served by only a 2-position switchboard. Dr. Tarantino.
I think one of the things I used to think about now, we did have a car. Anybody said, did you have a car? We had a car. That car was only used on Sundays to go to my grandmother's house. It's about all we didn't need to go to any other place.
When we were growing up, there were blue laws, and so there was no shopping, there was no mall. Sundays were a day of rest, which is unheard of anymore.
Church life was a lot of fun. Some of us wanted to go and some didn't. I remember singing in the choir, and I joined a YPHA. It was a young people's organization where we learned Bible stories.
My father was an usher at St. Patrick's Church. We used to always go to 11:15 Mass growing up because that was the Mass he was assigned to week in and week out. And, you know, both my children have been baptized there. It's remained an important part of our life throughout our years here in Huntington.
My church is very, very important to us. It plays an important part in our lives of bringing up our children. We started there from baptism on, singing in choirs, Sunday school. I taught Sunday school there at Bethel for so many years, over 30 years. When the 3rd generation started, just sat on my lap. It's time to move on.
Huntington also has a lot of cultural advantages. We have the concerts in Heckscher Park. We have the community cinema, which is, shows marvelous films, foreign films. We have the old Shore Theater, which is now an 8-plex. My kids call it the octoplex. And so we do have many, many advantages to living in this wonderful community.
Well, Huntington has been known as a cultural magnet for Long Island. They call it the Little Apple. And there are a lot of wonderful cultural institutions. The Cinema Arts Center, which was started 35 years ago using a bedsheet for a movie screen, to share sort of independent and foreign films with the local audience, things that you couldn't find in the local multiplex. And it's really taken off, and now it's got 3 theaters and is a wonderful resource for the town.
And then we hit Huntington, and we bought a house and this and them, and there was one theater, and it was awful. We were going crazy. And we said, we got to do something. And so we said, let's try it.
I asked this friend who had a dance studio, and the most amazing thing is because we didn't have a place to store chairs, so we asked people to bring their own chairs, and we thought, oh, well, that's going to be impossible. They did. People brought their own chairs. And by the way, when they came to the cinema, they liked the idea of the community atmosphere. They liked being able to discuss the films, and we always had speakers, and they missed that with just having their VCR at home. with
free coffee and cookies.
And free coffee and cookies, yeah.
So the cinema and the other groups here in town as well, you know, are really meant to be a place that pulls people out of their house and brings them together to be a community. When I was a kid, I used to hang out at Book Review all the time, spend hour after hour browsing through books, reading through books, annoying the staff.
We opened the store in November of 1977. We saw an opportunity to come back to New York and open a combination new and used bookstore. I did not want to come back to New York, and I said the only place that I would want to live and work would be Huntington.
We've only had 4 presidents come to Huntington. 2 of them while they were president, George Washington and Theodore Roosevelt, but 2 of them after they were president, and they both went to book review, Jimmy Carter and Bill Clinton. So that's something that'll attract big names like that, and you'll see people lined up around the block to get their books signed at book review.
It's a place where the community meets. We still have individual customers that will call us out and say, you know, you've been suggesting books to us for 30 years. You know, I just read this and this and this. What should I read?
I had the opportunity last night to meet a lot of the people who come to book review regularly because they're so appreciative of what happens here. And I couldn't tell you how many times people said, isn't this the best bookstore? There isn't a bookstore anywhere around like it. Look what they do. Look at the people they bring in. They're so gracious. They're so expansive. They're such a wonderful, wonderful presence in our community.
You know the people who own every store. You know the people who own every building. You know, I don't want to sound too hokey and say it's one big happy family. I'm sure not everybody's that happy, but there is a definite family feeling to the place.
We were attracted to Huntington because of the community-based. Even though a large number of people work in New York City, it's still a very community-based neighborhood. We're part of the whole life cycle, and that's what I enjoy the most. My brother, for example, works for Pepperidge Farm, and that's a completely different lifestyle in the corporate. I get to see people at their happiest moments and at their saddest moments. That we've made children's christening cakes, and then we've made their wedding cakes, and now we're making their children's cakes. So that gives us a real sense of connection with our customers, and we enjoy that.
But everybody loved coming in my store because we would greet them not as a customer, a friend. How are you today? How's your mother? Can I do something for you? What else do you need? Not just to do with a camera.
Living and working in one place for 36 years, this is our 36th year of showing, you know, everyday films, 7 days a week.
And 7 nights.
52 weeks, you know, 52 weeks a year, and you go on. And you say, okay, how does that, you know, how does that become part of the fabric of a community? And I think in a way it was first, oh wow, and now it's just part of, it's sort of part of the fabric.
There's a family continuity. People move away, but basically a lot of us have stayed, and our children and grandchildren have stayed, and it's been very warm and friendly, culturally enriched, environmentally gorgeous, you know, parks and beaches. And I can't think of another place that I'd want to live. I'm certainly not going to retire anywhere else. I'm going to get old right here. They have to carry me out of this pretty house.
It's what they call a naturally occurring retirement community. People stay here rather than everyone packing up and moving to Florida, and you only have young families. You do have multi-generations living in Huntington because people don't want to leave. They do want to stay here, and you see a lot of older people still living here, empty nesters maybe moving to a smaller house, and young families moving in. So we get a good mix of people from school age to retired, and that adds to the diversity and vibrancy of the town, which is wonderful.
Of course, we know that life is not always as perfect as we may remember it. That memory can cast a golden hue over our past. But there is something undeniably special about this place. It is still very much a hometown to this day.
You know, I just remember growing up, well, everyone talking about going to Florida. I said, well, you can go to Florida in the winter. That's ridiculous. Now, you know, when it's 20 degrees, I'm like, okay, I can see myself in Boca right now. Or out in Palm Springs, you know, in a lawn chair. Oh my God, it's happening. But New York is home. It's as simple as that.
I feel that Huntington is a very stable community, and yes, there have been changes. There's been a large influx. The town has grown dramatically in that time period. But I think that as far as the retail bakery goes, that customer is still the same. The enjoyment level of a fresh jelly donut in the morning on the way to work has stayed the same.
But that's what happens when you have a town with over 600 to 800,000 people. Not the same. But it's still my town.
a great place to live and work. That's what it is, no doubt about it.
I do a lot of walking, and as I walk by, people are so friendly, and Huntington just seems the spot to be.
A friend of mine wrote that line in the Don Henley song, "How can love survive in such a graceless age?" And when I asked him, I said, "Where did you come with that line?" Such a compelling line in a pop song, "How can love survive in such a graceless age?" And he looked at me and he goes, "Oh, look around, it's such a graceless age." And it really is true, but not in Cold Spring Harbor, to be honest. It's just, there is a grace and an elegance to that, I don't know, just everything about it. Whatever they did, the founding fathers, whether maybe it was the DeForest family or whatever, they did it right.
You know, it provides a sense of calm, and I can almost feel it as when I come home from work and I could be driving down Northern Boulevard. As I come down 25A and hit Cold Spring Harbor and you see the water and the boats, it has a calming effect, at least on me, that I'm home, I'm in a place that is comforting and safe and fun to be in.
I've never felt roots except for Northport. Or blood. Not roots, blood. Smell. I smell home when I smell Northport. You know, I feel like Northport, and I don't know why I didn't buy here. I don't know why I didn't end up in Northport. Or, you know, it's impossible to come back now. It's just way too expensive. But Northport is where I'm from. Proudly.
Boy, some things are mentioned in that final part of Hometown Huntington that really hit close to home for me. I'm Laura Savini, and I hope you've been enjoying the show. But talking about the Cinema Arts Center, please, we all love to go there no matter where you live. And Reinwald's Bakery, yum, I was just there not too long ago. And the parks and the beaches, there's so much there that we all care about. I know some of my favorite memories of Huntington are actually taking my kayak and be able to just put it on a little mini trailer and walk it down to the beach and just launch from there. How many towns can offer that? It's just a beautiful place to live. Well, we've been celebrating Hometown Huntington, and I'm looking forward to you giving us a call now that the show's over, and saying that you loved it. We want to hear that so that we can produce